Welcome to the world of Studio Ghibli. I'm going to take you through some highlights and also what makes Studio Ghibli so special. Step into the world of wonder and excitement, beauty and sadness, machinery and nature. Always with humor, some sadness and fantasy, with Japanese animators sure know how to tell a great story. I'm going to start with my own story of Studio Ghibli. It all began with Ponyo, the story of a fish who wanted to become human. How did this film make me feel? Well, it was certainly different to all the other animations I'd seen before. I knew it was from somewhere far, far away. Although spoken in English, I could tell from the food and characters and landscape that this was not made in the Western world. Studio Ghibli began in 1985, created by Hayao Miyazaki. I'm going to call him HM from now on. Although the studio did start to use CGI eventually, the whole idea of Studio Ghibli films was to use traditional and hand-drawn methods. That's what makes them so beautiful to look at. Also, the sound of Studio Ghibli is astounding because it's always recorded to live orchestra music. But more of that later. Who knew so much went into an animation? First of all, let's talk about art. One amazing fact. All backdrops for animations are usually thrown away once they've been used. Not the case with Studio Ghibli. Fortunately, the artist Olga Kyozo, whose work you will most recognize in Studio Ghibli's films, are works of art in themselves. Here are some examples. Some really clever person came up with the idea to keep his backdrops and make an exhibition of them. Thousands of Japanese people flocked to see them, which was no surprise. Hardly any of them included characters. Just all the places that inspired so much entertainment. Just to give you an insight into what goes into making an animation, take a look at this. For a 3-second shot, look at the length of the piece of paper. Amazing. Talking of amazing, what an opening sound. This is Joe Hisashi, the composer for most of Studio Ghibli films. Listen to this drum, a Japanese taiko. The movie is Princess Mononoke, one of my favorites. And the chase is on. Again in the music, you can hear the wonder and excitement, beauty and sadness that's so apparent in the visual. Here's that drum again. It's even got its own microphone. of film could not be so dramatic and exciting without that magnificent sound. On the other hand, in Kiki's delivery service, a joyful sound, flying over the rooftops, gliding over the ocean. Also, it's time for the smaller instruments to play, if you noticed. For those of you who play an instrument, you'd recognize the size of this orchestra is pretty impressive. Talking of pretty impressive, look at these guys. In Porco Rosso, I love the big hairy men in goggles and eye patches, and of course the melancholy pig himself. Although he can get excited about his new aircraft engine. I really liked the masked warriors in Princess Mononoke. Now you can't have Studio Ghibli film without the spirits, and one of the most beautiful would have to be Ponyo's mum, the goddess of mercy. It's so clever how she is the ocean. Strange spirits in Spirited Away, however, are like nothing you've seen before. Take No Face for instance, the black dude on the left, real scary dude. He's always staring at the little girl. He can turn invisible and he has a giant mouth. Yikes. Incidentally, Spirited Away won an Oscar for Best Animation in 2003. It was also the highest grossing film in Japanese history. That means it made a lot of money. Here's Ponyo's dad, a very unusual character who lives in the ocean. I like his wavy hair. It's like the sea is still moving in it. This robot is from the movie La Puta, renamed Castles in the Sky in America. I love his face because it reminds me of the Iron Giant, which I'm sure was inspired by these robots. Here, two adorable little girls. The first one, Grave of the Fireflies, one of the saddest films I've ever seen, but more of that later. On the other hand, one of the funniest films would have to be My Neighbor Totoro. Too cute. And more cute, Lily and Gigi from Kiki's Delivery Service. Some of the magnificent characters in Howl's Moving Castle would have to be the Wicked Witch of the Waste and her minions. Look at these guys oozing out of the walls, turning up wherever you are. The handsome guy is Wizard Howl. Thank goodness he's there. Here, the witch hides her hideousness under her enormous hat. This is Sophie again, who's cursed by the witch to be an old lady. Here she meets her friend Turnip Head and asks him, "Can you find me a place to stay?" Lucifer lives life as a flame. Really clever how he's used. Look at this. He rebuilds the castle. I just have to show you this adorable dog. I think I love it so much because it reminds me of my little dog. War and machines. Take Porco Rosso for instance. You remember HM, the creator of Studio Ghibli. Well, he's aircraft mad. In fact, the name Ghibli is
taken from an Italian aircraft used during World War II, just pronounced differently. Here are some classic shots of Studio Ghibli warcrafts. Engraver the Fireflies, The Consequences of War. A young man gradually loses his mum to a bomb blast, his dad dies in a battle, and his little sister dies of disease and starvation. Anyway, enough of this sadness. Let's look at the delicious bacon and eggs being cooked. You can almost smell it. All the beautiful warm colours. Yummy. Look at the shine in those eggs. Even Calcifer the fire eats the eggshells. Thanks for watching my Studio Ghibli documentary.